Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare Krishna, everyone. So thank you so much for coming. So this evening, as I understand, we're doing questions and answers. Is it? Yes. So perhaps you have some questions you would like to ask. I'll give you a few moments just to gather your thoughts. All of the scriptures, they are in the form of questions and answers, actually. Thank you. So in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks a question. He says, I'm confused. Confused.com. I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I don't know what my future is. I don't know what is my dharma. Dharma is a very interesting word, but nowadays we can say many people, they don't know what their dharma is in the sense of what is my purpose? What is success? What am I trying to achieve in my life? I actually have no idea. And therefore Arjuna asked this question, what is my dharma? What is my purpose? What is success? And on the basis of asking that question, then Krishna speaks the whole of the Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit, he comes to Sukadev Goswami with a question. Parikshit finds out that he only has 7 days left to live. And therefore he comes to Sukadev Goswami and he says, I've got a question. What is the duty of somebody who is about to die? And on the basis of that question, Sukadev Goswami speaks for 7 days, the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the beginning of the Ramayana, a question is asked, what are the qualities of an ideal person? And on the basis of that question, the whole of the Ramayana is described to describe the character of Lord Ram. He was the ideal husband, the ideal ruler, the ideal son, ideal in all respects. Maryada Purushottam, it said. So like this, the whole of scriptures and wisdom is coming out by asking good questions. Even in the Mahabharata, we find that Yudhishthira, he went to the lake of death. And there he found all of his brothers lying dead. And then there was a voice which said that you will also die unless you answer my questions. And so that voice was coming from Yamaraj, the god of death. And so he began to ask Yudhishthira many different questions. He asked Yudhishthira, what is heavier than the mountain? Think about that for a moment. What is heavier than a mountain? Yudhishthira's answer, the love of the mother. The love of the mother is heavier than the mountain because the kind of impression that it creates in a child, even the heaviness of a mountain can't create that kind of impression of a true mother's love for their child. Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira, what is faster than the wind? The speed of the mind. Yudhishthira was asked by Yamaraj, what is more numerous than the blades of grass on earth? Yudhishthira's answer, the number of desires within the living entity. Ever increasing, unlimited desires. Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kamopa bhoga parama etavaditi nishchita. Krishna says in the Gita, because you have unlimited desires, therefore you have unlimited anxieties. The more desires, the more anxieties. So Yudhishthira said, what's more numerous than the blades of grass? The number of desires. Therefore we tell people the richest person is not the one who has the most. The richest person is the one who needs the least. True wealth is measured by inner satisfaction. I don't need kuch icha nahi. No more desires. Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira, what do you have to give up to become loved by everyone? What do you have to give up to become loved by everyone? Yudhishthira's answer, pride. Everyone will love a humble person. You can't, even if you want to be angry at a humble person, you can't. It's too hard. If you give up pride, if you give up envy of others, you'll be loved by everyone. Yudhishthira was asked by Yamaraj, what do you have to give up so that you will never have any regrets in your life? Yudhishthira's answer, anger. If you're able to control your anger, you will never have any regrets in your life, because Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti brahmsad buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. Krishna says, as soon as there's krodha or anger, sammoha, then there's delusion. And then you lose your intelligence. Therefore, in anger, you say things, you do things, you think things that you would never normally say, do, or think. Because anger creates delusion. So, Yudhishthira said, if you're able to give up anger, if you can just learn to control your anger, you'll never have any regrets in your life. Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira, what's the most amazing thing in the world? What is the most amazing thing in the world? Yudhishthira's answer, ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ha yamalayam sheshastavanamichanti kimascharyam mataparam. Ahani ahani bhutani, every single day. Gachanti ha yamalayam, living entities are entering the abode of death. Every single day living entities are dying. Sheshastavanamichanti, but I think I'm going to live here forever. Kimascharyam ataparam. What can be more amazing than this? There was one, Leo Tolstoy, he was a philosopher. He said, I know everyone has to die, but I was hoping an exception would be made in my case. There's no exception. Life is like a game of chess. Whether you're the king, the queen, or the pawn, at the end of the game, everyone ends up in the box. No one makes it out of this place alive. Time and tide wait for no person. But Yudhishthira said the most amazing thing is, we all know death is inevitable, but practically nobody thinks about death. Practically every single person lives in blissful ignorance that I'm going to be here forever. What can be more amazing than this? We plan for every single eventuality in our life except the one thing that's definitely going to happen. This is amazing. Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira, who is happy in this world? You know what Yudhishthira's answer was? Who is happy in this world? He said 3 things. Number 1, someone who doesn't have debts. Number 2, someone who doesn't have to travel very far away to get to work. And number 3, one who eats food cooked at home. That person is happy. How many people can say they have these 3 things in the world now? Who in this world is living without debts? As soon as you finish university, you have £50,000 debt. I know. That's why I didn't get a job, because you only have to pay it back if you get a job. Who in this world doesn't have to travel very far away to get to? Of course, now you can work from home, but. And who can eat food cooked at home? It's a luxury now. Therefore, lifestyle has become so artificial. People not happy. So when we ask expert questions, then we can also derive great wisdom. And therefore, all of the scriptures are in the forms of questions and answers. So today we give you an opportunity. Maybe you have some questions you may want to ask. Maybe questions about philosophy. Maybe you have doubts. I don't know. Does God really exist? If karma is true, why did these kind of things happen? What about science? Science seems to have disproved so many things about spirituality. So maybe you have some philosophical questions. Maybe you have some questions about the world that we're living in. What would you guys say about this problem in the world? Or how will Krishna consciousness solve this issue? Maybe you have some questions about the practice. How do I improve this? Or how do I overcome this difficulty? So we have a little bit of time if you have some questions. So would anyone like to start us off with any question you may have? Yes.
My question is that Krishna resides in our heart, right? So how can we listen to what he's saying? Like, because, how can we understand his plan rather than going with his plan? We tend to go with our plans, and then we suffer.
So yes, Krishna is in your heart. And if you listen to him, then you will overcome. Krishna says, Machita sarvadurgani matprasadattarishashi atachetvam ahankaran nashroshasi vinangshasi. Krishna says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. But if you act not hearing me, then you will be lost. So we have to hear the voice of Krishna in our heart. In the world today, they talk about this, they call it intuition, isn't it? Sometimes someone just feels like they're getting an inspiration from their heart, and they don't know where that's coming from. That's the voice. There can be the voice of Krishna within your heart who is inspiring you, but how do we hear that? The first thing is that you have to talk to Krishna. If you don't talk to Krishna, then Krishna won't speak to you. But the more you talk to Krishna, then there's more likely he's going to converse with you. He's going to direct you. He's going to give you wisdom. He's going to start inspiring you. So the first thing is we have to share our heart with God. That means you go in front of God. You share your hopes, your fears. Sometimes we come in front of Krishna, and it feels very artificial, like to just start speaking, because we're very impersonal. But if you open your heart, then you will see that there's a reciprocation there. So the first thing is, if you want to hear God, then first you have to talk to God. The second thing is, we hear Krishna not just directly by the voice within our heart, but we hear Krishna through the mouths of the devotees. We hear Krishna through the mouths of those who are very connected. See, right now for us to hear Krishna in the heart is very difficult because we don't have that connection. But then there are very advanced spiritualists who have a connection with Krishna. And therefore sometimes they can convey Krishna's message to you more powerfully. And therefore what you will find is that if you establish a relationship with a devotee who has a very strong connection with Krishna, then when you pray to Krishna, the answer may well come through their mouth. And therefore, it's another great art to establish relationships with those who are very connected to Krishna, because through them you'll hear Krishna. The other way that Krishna may communicate to you is through the scripture. When you open the Bhagavad Gita, you're not just opening up a historical book, you're opening up a dialogue with Krishna. And therefore, if one is very, very sincere, then what will happen is that as you read those words, you'll hear Krishna speaking to you. So, there's only one qualification to hear Krishna, and that is that you really want to hear Him. If you really want to hear Him, then He'll make Himself known, either by the voice in your heart, either through the voice of the devotees, or either through the voice through the scripture. And sometimes Krishna may even speak to you through the voice of those who are not necessarily devotees. They may also convey Krishna's message to you. One time Prabhupada got very sick, so they called in this doctor. This doctor wasn't so qualified. It was like a Thanksgiving weekend and there was no doctors available, so finally they found someone, but he was like not the most qualified doctor. So he came in, he did some checks, and then he went to the next room. So Prabhupada was in one room, and then he went to the next room. So the devotees asked the doctor, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And this doctor said, "He's all right. The old man's okay. He just prays too much. He needs to start walking." Why is he praying all day? He should start walking. So Prabhupada heard it from the next room. So Prabhupada said, "Yeah, Krishna is speaking to me." So then the very next day he started doing morning walks. So yes, Krishna can speak through anyone. So there's only one qualification to hear Krishna, and that is that we really want to hear Krishna. And not just listen to our mind. Is that okay? Thank you. Someone else?
Thank you, Maharaj. Like, what is the dharma of grihastha? Because everyone can't take sannyas like you.
In one sense, the dharma of every ashram is the same. In one sense. Our dharma is to serve. Whether you are brahmachari, whether you are grihastha, whether you are vanaprastha, whether you are sannyas, we're all just trying to serve. And in the unique situation that you have, you find the unique opportunities that you have to serve. And then what happens is your life becomes glorious. So as sannyasis, we try to serve the world in a certain way. And as grihasthas, as householders, you can serve the world in your own beautiful way. In Vedic times it said that the grihasthas, before they would sit down for a meal, they would go to the door, open the door, and then shout 3 times, "Is anyone hungry? Is anyone hungry? Is anyone hungry?" And only if nobody came would they then sit down for their meal. Don't try this at home. You can try, see what happens. But that spirit is amazing. that nowadays grihastas, the household is like a fortress, nobody can come in. But actually the dharma of a grihasta is always to serve, to be open, to welcome, to be hospitable, to be charitable. And if you do this more and more, then your household life becomes glorious. So serve, be charitable, support the other ashrams, bring up Krishna conscious children, serve the deities at home, and help Srila Prabhupada's movement. You have knowledge, you have so much spiritual wealth that you've gained, so share that with the world. You see, sometimes people look at us and it's like, it's just unrelatable to people. People are not going to live the life that we're living. It's very far away. But when people see you, then they're seeing someone who's successful, they're seeing someone who, has their family life, and at the same time they're seeing someone who's very, very spiritual. And then they look at you and they think, wow, I can also do that. So actually, in one sense, although people think we are the preachers, actually as a grihasta, you can share Krishna consciousness sometimes as powerfully, because you show the example of how to be successful in all aspects of life. And that's a wonderful example. So like that. If you do that, then you are as good as a sannyasi. Krishna says, who is a real sannyasi? Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na cha kriya. Who is a sannyasi? The one who gives the karma phala, the one who gives the fruits of their activities and dedicates that in service to others. That person is a sannyasi, not just the one who dresses in a certain way or externally accepts a certain type of lifestyle. So, you can be more than a sannyasi.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, as we all know, like everyone has to die, and at the time of the death, three things like our mind, intelligence, and ego goes with us, and then the next birth is decided based on these three qualities: ego, mind, and intelligence. So, for example, in the previous life, if we have done some bad things and our ego is very high in negative way, and we take birth in some family, some who is not religious, and still our ego is high. So how will someone get Krishna's mercy? Because even like we have not done any good thing. So is that mean Krishna, like that person will never get the opportunity to do bhakti? So what is the like relation between?
So how do we ensure that in our next life we always get an opportunity, because say that we have done many things which are not favorable, then we enter a stage of life and then we have no contact. Therefore, devotees and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement are our hope. Because what do the devotees do? They take the Harinam party and they go out in the midst of a city center and they start giving people an opportunity to connect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is covering the whole world, every town and village, and giving all living entities an opportunity. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, basically most people are unqualified. Most people don't really have much spiritual credit to their name at all. To be honest, most people don't really have it in their destiny to meet a devotee. Yet the wonderful thing about Kali Yuga is that it's Chaitanya Yuga. And that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his movement gives people an access. So it doesn't take much. You have to just hear the holy name. You have to take some prasadam. You have to see a devotee. You have to touch a book. You have to have some contact. And then everything else can begin. And you can ignite your whole journey again. So like that, everyone has an opportunity. Everyone will have that spark in their life which can help them to trigger their Krishna consciousness again. Therefore, the devotees are the most valuable people in the world, because they're giving people that opportunity to begin their spiritual journey. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhu Sang, Krishna Prema Janma Teho Punamukya Ang. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula, what is the root cause of the awakening of love for Krishna? Hoya Sadhu Sang. If somehow or other you come in contact with a devotee. So look around, you're surrounded by them. So you're very fortunate. Is that okay?
As you said, like Krishna Maharaj also answered, Krishna also answered that we have a lot of aspirations. So they're like, once all we have like spiritual aspirations, then we want to chant, we want to be mastering scriptures, or so on. And then we also have a lot of professional or material aspirations, that I want that promotion, that degree, or that I want to set up that business, I want to own a house or so. So my question is, how can we manage our professional or material aspirations with the spiritual aspirations?
Don't try and balance it, integrate it. You want to be an entrepreneur? Be a spiritual entrepreneur. You want to make money? Make money and then use that money to serve the world and make the world a better place. You want to have a family? Great, have a family, but then become a spiritual father. In other words, we don't have to see that this is my material life and this is my spiritual life, and 60% of my week is for my material goals and 40% of my week is for my spiritual goals. No, everything becomes spiritual. Because every part of your life can be dedicated to Krishna. Every part of your life can be connected and dovetailed in the service of Krishna. So, if you want to be successful in the world, by all means, do it. But just being successful won't make you happy. See, in the world, they think growth, success, and happiness is the same thing. These are three very different things. You can grow your income, grow your position, grow your influence, but that doesn't mean you're successful. Because only when you grow with character and ethics, then you become successful. But just because you're successful, that doesn't mean you'll become happy. Only when you use your success in service to others does that success bring you happiness. So growth plus character equals success. And success plus service brings happiness. And therefore in the world they try to conflate all these things. If I'm growing, then I'll be happy. No. So therefore the art of life, yat karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad johoshi, dadashi yat, yat tapasya shikonteya, tat kurushva, mad arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever sacrifices you perform, whatever endeavors you make, do that as an offering to Krishna, yeah, not me. Then you can do everything. So try to live a life of integration. Everything you do can be used in service to Krishna. Does that make sense? Like George Harrison. So he wanted to leave his music and he wanted to join the temple. And Srila Prabhupada told him, no, you do your music, but write about Krishna. He said, no, Srila Prabhupada, I want to get initiated by you. Prabhupada said to George Harrison, you don't need to get initiated, you're already Hari's son. And what did he do? He wrote all these amazing songs and connected so many people. So everyone has a unique offering to make. And you can reach so many people in the world. So yeah, be successful. Do it for Krishna. Yes.
I want to ask how to do an attentive chanting, because as far as I heard or listened, people say different way to do an attentive chanting. Some say you have to concentrate on Krishna's form and just hear the sound. Some ask us to pray to Krishna that I want to serve Krishna. So what consciousness to prepare while chanting, and how we can do an attentive chanting?
I don't think it's for me to tell you. You're an individual, you have your relationship with Krishna. And each of us will connect to Krishna in different ways. For some people, attentive chanting, what helps them is to, read something before they chant. And that means that when they begin chanting, they're in a better consciousness, they're more aware of Krishna. For some people, better chanting means, they chant with other devotees, and that helps them to kind of connect more. For some people, they like to chant with Srila Prabhupada. Some people like to stand up when they chant. Some people sit down. So you find whatever works for you. You have your own individual relationship with Krishna. You have your own way of connecting, and it's not stereotyped. So the main thing is you have to hear the mantra. It's very simple. Prabhupada said, just try to hear yourself chanting sincerely. So somehow you have to do that. And whatever helps you, if it helps you to have a picture in front of Krishna in front of you, great. If it helps you to have the Maha Mantra written out on a card and you look at that, great. If it helps you to read something before you chant, great. Whatever works for you. But the main principle is, you have to hear the mantra. Is that okay?
So there's a online question from someone who is recently taken up to chanting. There's two questions. First one is how to forgive people who have hurt you. And the second one is how to become emotionally strong that nothing in the world can affect you.
Okay. Okay, let's take the first one, forgiveness. How to forgive people. Forgive me if my answer is not the best. The goal of life is not to remember all the terrible things that someone has done to you. The goal of life is to remember all the beautiful things that Krishna is doing for you every single day. But you will not be able to remember those beautiful things if your mind is hijacked by all that negativity. Therefore, we have to learn to let go. A devotee can forgive because they know three things. The first thing is they know I am not entirely innocent in this situation. Whatever is coming to me for a reason. Whatever is coming to me because I did something in the past and I need to go through this experience. A devotee knows that I'm not just some victim here. I was also party to creating this reaction for myself. So the first way in which a devotee can forgive is a devotee realizes, I had some part to play in this. The second reason why a devotee can forgive is because they realize that the person who is causing my pain is a messenger of my karma. If you identify the messenger of your karma as the cause of your karma, then you make a big misconception. Tomorrow, if the postman comes to your house and he gives you a speeding fine, you're not going to open the door and start chasing the postman because he's just delivering. So there's no question. We have to understand that people are the instruments of our karma. And the third reason why we can forgive is we realize that all of these situations that are coming to me to make me uncomfortable with being in this world. We're meant to start feeling a little bit uncomfortable about this world. We're meant to start thinking, I don't know if I want to hang around in this place too long. And therefore we can forgive because we remember this discomfort that is being caused to me is actually very, very beneficial because it's reminding me I need to keep moving. I need to keep moving onwards and upwards. I need to start moving towards a place where there's no anxiety. And therefore we forgive because we realize, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that this is not where I'm meant to be comfortable. So in this way, one has to become very, very thoughtful. See, Krishna consciousness doesn't mean just to chant your rounds or just to learn all the philosophy and learn all the songs and all that kind of stuff. That's very good. Krishna consciousness means we have to become so deep that you can forgive. And if you can do that, then all of this heaviness that we're carrying around, we can just let it go. And you can live in this world in a very liberated way. This is real Krishna consciousness. So yes, remember, the goal of life is not to remember all the terrible things that someone did to you. The goal of life is to remember the beauty that Krishna is sending in your life every single day. But we won't be able to remember that if our mind is hijacked. Therefore, forgiveness. It's interesting when Rupa Goswami talks about someone who has bhav, or spiritual emotion. The very, very first quality he says of someone who has spiritual emotion is forgiveness. Kshantir avyarta kalatvam viraktir manashunyata ashabandha samutkantha namagane sadaruchi ashakti-stad gunakhyane pritistad vasati stale ityadayo nubhavasyo jata bhavan kure jane. He gives all of these qualities of someone who has deep spiritual love. But he says the very, very first quality that you will observe in someone who actually has spiritual love, Kshantir, able to forgive. Is that okay?
And the second part, how to be emotionally strong and unbothered. The second question.
How to be emotionally strong and unaffected by things. See, therefore I said, the first quality of bhav is you become indifferent to all of the things of this world. The way you become strong, spiritually strong and indifferent and unaffected by things is by opening yourself up to the spiritual reality. See, imagine there's a child playing a computer game. So they're playing like FIFA soccer or something, and they're like, oh no, I lost. You know, they're like totally emotionally into it. And then the parents are just standing behind them and they're kind of laughing at the kids like, this guy is just a computer game, like relax. So we are like kids, we're like in this virtual reality of this computer game, and we become so emotionally entangled by things. And then the mature devotees are standing behind and they're just looking like, oh, what's up with these guys? You know, it's just the illusion. Don't take the illusion too seriously. So we need to become broad-minded. We need to open ourselves up to the spiritual reality. We need to see that this life is just a flash in eternity. Here today, gone tomorrow. Are we going to take it all so serious? All the things that we worry about, all the things that we spend time and hours churning in our head, at the end of life, will it really be so important? Therefore, we have to become broad-minded. We have to open ourselves up to the bigger spiritual reality. And then when we have that perspective, then the world and all of its ups and downs, we don't take it as seriously anymore.
Personally and usually I observe that in order to help someone, or in order to give something to someone, or having a controllership mindset, so in all these things I see that expectation from others is very common, and it is the biggest problem and biggest obstacle. So how to have lower our expectations, because it is a hindrance in everything.
So we have a lot of expectations of people around us, and great expectations bring great frustrations. Because people don't reciprocate, people don't respond, and then we become disappointed. Gradually, what we're learning in Krishna consciousness is that success is not based on what we receive. Success is not based on the result that we get. Success is not based on the response that we get from other people. Success is based on giving the best of ourselves in any given situation. Success is if you give your best intention, you give your best attention, and you give your best action. If in any given endeavor you give your best intention, your best attention, and your best action, it doesn't matter how people respond. It doesn't matter what result comes. You're already a success. And so basically what we're doing in Krishna consciousness is we're putting all the emphasis on giving the best of ourselves. Knowing that if I give the best of myself, that is true success. And that's what Krishna is seeing. We worry so much about how people will respond to what we're doing because we're not enough connected to how Krishna is feeling about what we're doing. But when you put the emphasis there, how does Krishna feel about what I'm doing? Then all Krishna wants you to do is try your best. And therefore, in every endeavor, if you know you've tried your best, then you know Krishna is happy. And if Krishna is happy, what does it matter how other people respond? Because I've put the emphasis in the right place. But because we're not connected to Krishna, because we're not connected to how Krishna is feeling about our endeavor, then we put all the emphasis on how people respond to us. And then people are volatile. So then we get frustrated. So Mother Teresa, in her Calcutta monastery, by her bed, she had a poem. People are sometimes unreasonable, illogical. Forgive them anyway. People sometimes will not appreciate your endeavors. Give your best anyway. People will sometimes criticize you, even though you have good intentions. Still do the best you can. And then in the end of the poem she says, because in the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. So it's not between you and them. It's between you and Krishna. And in that way we become detached from the expectations. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Thanks so much.
How do we overcome the weakness of our heart? Can you say more what you mean by weakness of heart? What aspect?
For example, there will be a lot of opportunities to serve or something like that, but you were conditioned in such a way that okay, no, I cannot go or something. You don't have to go. You can do this or that. Isn't it like a weakness of your heart for the determination to serve? So how do we overcome that?
So we know something is good, we know something is beneficial, but then we don't have the determination, the focus to kind of carry it through. So how do we overcome that weakness? So yesterday I was speaking about the importance of knowledge. Why does Krishna again and again encourage us to understand spiritual philosophy? Why does Krishna again and again tell us to study the scriptures? Because what happens is when we do that, then our intelligence becomes stronger than our mind. There is a constant wrestling match going on between your intelligence and your mind. And according to which one you feed, according to which one you train, that one will win. And therefore, the very, very first thing that we have to do is when we have a very strong intelligence, then we begin becoming empowered in overcoming our fleeting emotions, which guide us away from the best course of activity in life. So the first way to overcome weakness of heart, weakness of mind, is to strengthen the intelligence. And that comes through studying scripture. Then the second thing is good association. What we lack in determination, what we lack in our own clarity, if we're surrounded by individuals who have that, then they can carry us. They can empower us. Therefore, who you surround yourself with, the devotees that, the individuals that you allow into your life, this has a very, very huge effect on the state of your consciousness. So therefore, choose your friends wisely. choose your company wisely. Because if you choose very, very strong and very, very sincere individuals, then they will empower you. And the third thing that's very, very important in keeping a strong mind and overcoming weakness of heart is establishing sattva, goodness, in your lifestyle and habits. You're familiar. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are three energies which are pervading this world: ignorance, passion, and goodness. So if your lifestyle is in ignorance and passion, then what will happen is your mind will become very, very weak. But if your lifestyle is in goodness, if the food that you eat is in goodness, if the environment that you surround yourself with is in goodness, if the habits, the time of day that you rise, your daily cycle is in goodness, then what will happen is that that energy will begin pervading your consciousness. And then you'll have a much stronger mind to follow what you know is right. Therefore, lifestyle and habits in the mode of sattva is also very, very important. So if you start doing some of these things, studying Shastra, surrounding yourself with sincere people, cultivating goodness in your lifestyle, then you'll find that your mind becomes stronger and stronger. And then you'll become less and less deviated, less and less distracted, and you'll have that strength, inner strength. Is that okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharajji. Maharajji, I have a question, like it might sound silly, but how to make your memory strong? Like almond
How
milk
to
helps
make
with
your
that.
memory strong? I forgot.
By remembering.
Mataji, the most important thing to remember is everything that Krishna has done for you. Good memory doesn't mean memorizing shlokas. Good memory doesn't mean remembering all the philosophy. Good memory doesn't mean that you can memorize all your academic things and pass your exams. Good memory means krita gya, to know what has been done for me in my life. That's the most important part of memory. If you live with gratitude, knowing and remembering every single day the grace that you've received in your life, that's the most important memory. Because other people have some kind of analytical memory. Yes, we can reel off thousands of shlokas, we can do this, we can do that, we can memorize and pass exams and get and BSc, MSc, PhD, MAD. I got the last one. But that doesn't, what's the value of that memory? But in your life, if you remember all the great things that have happened, then you'll be happy. That kind of memory will make you happy. Because the basic problem in life is we undervalue what we've received and we overvalue what we haven't received. Therefore, yes, you don't need me to tell you that. You can go on YouTube and there'll be 1,000 videos which will tell you how to improve your memory. But to be honest, even if you do, it won't guarantee a happy life. But if you learn how to remember all the wonderful things that Krishna has sent in your life, it doesn't matter whether you have an analytical good memory or not, you'll be happy. Therefore, gratitude is the mother of all qualities. If you have gratitude, all other good qualities will come in your life. Therefore, that's the most important thing to remember.
Prabhuji, how to get rid of the fear when we lose someone and someone close, and then that fear comes in heart for each and everyone around us, that we will lose one day those people as well. So how to get, even after chanting and then praying, but that fear never goes from my heart.
So we have a fear that we'll lose people. See, what we should be more fearful about than losing people is not valuing them while they're with us. It's amazing. We're so fearful that we'll lose people, but we're not fearful of how we treat people while they're here. Put the emphasis on that. Instead of worrying in the future, I will lose them, what will happen? The point is they're here now. So become fearful that, how am I speaking to them every single day? How am I interacting with them now? How am I showing my appreciation for them now? We should be more fearful about that. And when we're fearful about that, we can actually do something about it now and actually improve our relationship with them. So the tendency of the mind is always to be fearful about the future that we have no control over. But instead, become fearful about the present that you can influence right now. And say to yourself, there's this person in my life. Instead of being fearful that one day I'll lose them, let me be fearful that they're here right now with me now. What am I doing to show my love for them? And if you put the emphasis there, then what will happen is your relationships will actually flourish. And that fear of what may happen in the future, it won't be so much in your mind because you're actually functioning with them deeply in the present. Does that make sense?
Why do we say that desires is a bad thing? We don't have desires, how will we explain to you?
No one said desires are a bad thing, but we said material desires, desires for temporary things, desires for that which has no endurance, desires for that which won't actually feed and satisfy your soul. Those kinds of desires will frustrate you. Those kind of desires will just bring you more and more anxiety. Those kind of desires will just send you in a circle. So we're living entities. We have desires, naturally. Now the art of life is to transfer all your material desires and spiritualize all of them. Therefore, I told Prabhu, if you want to be successful, be successful. But don't just do it for a material end. Spiritualize it. Be spiritually successful. You want to be a parent? Great. Now be a spiritual parent. In other words, by all means have desires, but connect it to a transcendental goal, connect it to a spiritual objective, and then those desires will actually satisfy your soul. Otherwise, material desires, they just lead you back to square one. Just frustrate you.